What up? What's going on, everybody? Whoa, that was a loud spike there. Sorry about that. But what's going on? See if I can get the right screen going up here on my desk chat. What's up with that? There we go. Here we go. That one. All right. Anyways, what's going on, everybody? K Creative here. Bamboo Solutions today. Going to be doing our SharePoint weekly newsletter roundup. So this is where we go through. Yo, Johnny Mo. Thanks for jumping on, dude. So yeah, Fridays noon, doing our SharePoint weekly newsletter roundup. Man, that's like a mouthful. But yeah, it's a newsletter we put out every Friday morning at 8 a.m. Gives you all the latest and greatest news around the SharePoint space. You get it in your inbox, like I said, early in the morning on Friday, and then we can go over it together on Fridays at noon, like we're doing right now. So if you're interested, and you're not already on the newsletter, registered for it anyways, you can sign up for it there. There's a link in chat. Get some... Alright, so what I'm going to do now is pull up the newsletter, and we're going to roll through it. I was just checking it out this morning. There's quite a bit of good stuff going on in the SharePoint space, at least for you to be aware of, no doubt. I don't know if you've noticed in the news recently, but there's been, you know, some attacks on SharePoint. Something you might want to check out and read about. Hold on. Where is it? There it is. There it be. All right, found it. All right, let me load this thing up in my Chromium-based Edge browser, and let's get into it. All right, I'm gonna turn the sound down just a little bit, but you should be able to see my desktop now, and here we go. Here's the newsletter today. If you haven't seen it before, if you open it up in your email account, there's going to be a link at the top that says view this email in your browser, so you can navigate it this way. And when you do that, you're going to be able to sort of navigate around all the past issues as well. If you're interested in kind of seeing some of the latest news for the last few weeks or months or whatever it is you're interested in, they're all on there and accessible to you. So you can do that. I'm not going to wait. Well, yeah, it's done. So here you go. This is what it would look like. So you can go back and check out all those. And you can join the mailing list directly from there too. There's a little plug there for our weekly newsletter roundup here, which we're doing right now on Twitch and YouTube simultaneously. So if you're interested, you can jump on either of those channels and check us out. Speaking of which, I better go monitor that chat going on over there. All right, so anyways, here we go. We've got, what do we got? Top news stories. If you're not familiar with the newsletter, we got top news stories we go through, which is stuff that's coming from like, I guess the vendors themselves. And then we also have around the blogosphere, which is all the blog posts that are kind of going on in the community and some of the ones that we've decided to point out, right? Like obviously we've got some Mark Anderson blog posts going on, usually some Andrew Connell stuff, etc., etc. So we'll go through that, and then we got the SharePoint events, all the events going on in the space. So let's dig in. What's going on with y'all today? Happy Fridays, right? All right, let's go. May 2019 cumulative update for SharePoint 2019, 16, 13, and 10. So you got some CUs that have been released there. Friday fun day, no doubt. These CUs I don't usually go through on the stream here just because there's so many details in there that you can get lost in that pretty easily. So if you're interested, just know that there are some CU updates or some cumulative updates out there for May 2019. SharePoint Security fixes released with May 2019 PU and offered through Microsoft Update. Let's check this out. I'm assuming this is going to feed right into the security discussion we're going to have in just a moment. What do we got? Not a lot of detail there, just a bunch of links to KBs for you to be able to go review. There's a security update guide below for more details. So, some resources there for you as a SharePoint administrator potentially. Microsoft SharePoint servers are under attack, right? That's what I was talking about. This is big news. I think it was Canadian and Saudi cybersecurity agencies warn of attacks that have been ongoing for at least 2 weeks now. Hacker groups are attacking Microsoft SharePoint servers to exploit a recently patched vulnerability to gain access to corporate and government networks, according to recent security advisors sent out by Canadian and Saudi cybersecurity agencies. Let's see here. security flaw exploited in these attacks is tracked as this CVE. If you're not familiar with that, then there you go. Go check it out. Which Microsoft patched through the security updates released in February, March, and April this year. So what they're doing is exploiting those environments that haven't been updated recently, right? Which is why you should update consistently. An attacker who successfully exploited the vulnerability could run arbitrary code in the context of the SharePoint application pool and the SharePoint server farm account. It started in late April. The Canadian Center for Cybersecurity first sent an alert last month, and then officials from the Saudi National Cybersecurity Center sent a second security alert this week. So it's getting some attention now. Let's see, there was a couple of attacks, it looks like. No evidence that they were connected. Patching and firewall SharePoint servers is a must, no doubt. Just checking that out. All right, cool. So just be aware of that. If you're not already, go read up on it. If you're in that space trying to secure your maybe www accessible SharePoint farms, you might want to go get those patched if they're not already. Homeland Security tells organizations with Microsoft Office 365 to check their settings. Another thing here. We're finding that Office 365 security is everyone's responsibility, just like all web security, right? But what we're finding is that the admins of 365 tenants are not necessarily pursuing those best practices that Microsoft's putting out there and saying, hey, you should probably go review this stuff and change this stuff and set the security on this stuff. So Homeland Security Systems Division says that third-party partners have been configuring cloud-based Office 365 installs incorrectly, opening them to a wider attack surface. Let's see, here's a quote. What's it say? The organizations that use a third party have had a mix of configurations that lower their overall security posture. Mailbox auditing was disabled, unified audit log disabled, multi-factor authentication disabled on admin accounts, stuff like that. In addition, the majority of these organizations did not have a dedicated IT security team to focus on their security in the cloud. The security oversights have led to user and mailbox compromises and vulnerabilities. So yeah, we've got that full new awesome security center there that's provided to us in Office 365 that it does a really good job of highlighting areas where you could probably improve your security. So it does its like own personal audit for you. But it doesn't look like that's always being checked out, right? Finally, some organizations didn't even realize that authentication is not supported by legacy email protocols like IMAP and SMTP. A setting in Azure overrides this and greatly increases the attack surface. Interesting. So yeah, security is a big deal this month, right? Getting hacked. People aren't securing their Office 365 tenants. Let's make sure we stay on top of that stuff. Microsoft releases new version of Attack Surface Analyzer utility. Another security-related post. So security or Attack Surface Analyzer 2.0 works on Windows, but also on Mac and Linux. 7 years after releasing version 1.0 of Microsoft, Microsoft has published version 2.0, so it took 7 years of its Attack Surface Analyzer utility. It's a tool that logs the changes made to a Windows OS during the installation of third-party applications. Released at the end of April, Attack Surface Analyzer 2.0 marks the end of a long development cycle during which Microsoft engineers rewrote the utility using .NET Core and Electron. That's awesome. Two cross-platform technologies, meaning the tool now also runs on macOS and Linux. Where do you download it? There's a link there in the article. Go get some. Microsoft's open sourced the code and opened the development process to any contributors. That's awesome. Fans of the old one, 1.0, can still get the old version, now known as the classic version. So how do you use it? The new Attack Surface 2.0 is pretty straightforward to use. The entire tool is just two sections, one for scanning a system and one for displaying the results. The scan section supports two types of scans, a static scan and a live monitoring mode. And then static scans can be used to detect changes made between a before and after state. So you're supposed to scan a system before installing an app and after the app's installation. That'll produce a report showing the changes between the two states. So the second scan mode is called live monitoring, and that name suggests, records changes made to Windows OS in real time. Neato bandito. The results section lists changes made to various key areas of Windows OS, such as the file system, network ports, system services, system certificate stores, Windows registry, user accounts, etc. Besides the Electron-based GUI app, Microsoft engineers have also released an improved CLI tool that can be used as part of an automated tool chain. That's awesome too. There you go. There you go. I like it. All right, so get some of that if you haven't already. Check it out. Looks like a fun tool to run. Microsoft and Sony. I saw this morning, man. Super excited. I think it was a race to see who could get Sony on their side for all the gaming streaming services that are coming out, right? Like Google's Stadia, and AWS, I think, is trying to come out with their own now. Well, now Microsoft has bagged Sony, so there's a partnership going on for Sony to use Azure for game and content streaming services. So let's check this out. And this is a big deal to me because, first of all, the PlayStation and the Xbox, right? Rivals. But here we are partnering to use the same cloud provider and potentially moving in a direction that may build some more cohesion between these two things. Who knows? We'll see. According to the post from Microsoft News Center, the company plans to collaborate with Sony on a new cloud-based solution moving forward. And while there are several mutually beneficial businesses that make sense in light of this new partnership, both Sony and Microsoft specifically highlighted the least likely ones to work together on. Let's see, what are they saying? The two companies will explore joint development of future cloud solutions in Microsoft Azure to support their respective game and content streaming services. In addition, the two companies will explore the use of current Microsoft Azure data center-based solutions for Sony's game and content streaming services. By working together, the companies aim to deliver more enhanced entertainment experiences for their worldwide customers, blah, 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 blah. So, pretty awesome little friendship there, partnership there, if you will. Definitely did not expect that. With Sony being a public gaming rival of Microsoft, it seemed a natural fit that Amazon would capture Sony's business as the gaming industry... Oh, what just happened? It's jumping on me. Transitions to the cloud. However, it seems Sony and Microsoft are aiming for a loftier partnership that will also mutually benefit both companies beyond gaming. Microsoft and Sony will also be collaborating on the development of new semiconductor and AI technologies, as well as building out new intelligent cameras. The deal's in its early stages, and all the details and conditions are still being hashed out. Blah, 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 for sure. Faux show. All right, let's check out the next one. Sony to use, we did that one. Is Chromium-based Edge the best thing ever to happen to Google's Chrome browser? What are they saying here? Google, let's see. Could Microsoft switch to Chromium have unforeseen consequences? At the end of 2018, Microsoft officially announced that the old Windows 10 only version of Edge was dead, to be replaced by a revamped spin on the browser based on Chromium, the same rendering engine which Google Chrome's browsers use, and some others like Opera and Vivaldi. Edge's browser market share was pitifully small and indeed starting to go backwards, so Microsoft had to take action in some manner, quite a drastic action really, but Microsoft needed to move quickly to stop the rot. And Chromium evidently seemed the ideal way to ensure better compatibility with websites for the new Edge and make it more reliable overall. So I am browsing all of this today in the Chromium-based Edge browser. There was actually a blog post last week, I can't remember who it was by actually, but they were talking about how Chrome immediately took a design decision from this version of Edge, the Chromium-based Edge, and implemented it in Chrome. So it was almost like Microsoft started to do something that Google said, ooh, I like that, let's put that in ours. I don't know which part of it was, but I'll have to go find that article too, but it was interesting. What else are they saying here? Chromium-based Edge got a load of new features at Build 2019. However, let's put aside any thoughts of how the decision affects Edge for now, as what we want to consider here is what it means for Chrome. It's clear that Microsoft has fully committed to improving Chromium in many respects, and of those, multiple enhancements. Some planned, some already underway or in place. Many of them look to be important strides forward, and they'll come to all Chromium-powered browsers, which includes Chrome itself. In just the last week or so, we've witnessed Microsoft drive Chromium forward in terms of working on smoother scrolling for web pages, which can get quite jerky on busier pages, and potential tweaks to memory management for a faster startup for Chrome on lower spec PCs. What else? Not to mention touches like implementing text suggestions for the hardware keyboard, bolstering incognito mode on Windows 10 to give it a tighter level of privacy. So it's pretty neat. Microsoft's contributing to the Chromium. What is it called? Is it a framework? They just keep calling it Chromium. Anyways, it's I guess it's the underlying technology of the Chrome browser, right? So anyways, Microsoft's contributing to that, and they're making it better, and people are seeing the improvements already, now that we're seeing them move in the direction of putting Edge on the Chromium thing. Let's see. One of the reasons Microsoft switching to the Chromium engine was to secure its much prized compatibility and reliability for the new Edge. So if things get even a little shaky on this front, that's going to be a disappointment. One of the things they did announce, I don't see them calling that out here, but they did announce that at Build 2019, that Chromium-based Edge will have a IE, or is it an old Edge compatibility mode? So you will be able to go into a setting and switch the browser into compatibility mode so that all your, I think it's IE, legacy apps can still run in this new version of Edge as if it were running in Internet Explorer though. So pretty cool stuff there. Trying to accommodate all that legacy code out there in the enterprises, and yet still trying to go current and get all of our web dev efforts into a consolidated, more standardized format to develop against, right? Like everyone hated having to develop two types of code, some for IE, some for Chrome. Anyways, here we go. We're on our way. 9 big takeaways from Microsoft Build 2019. Oh yeah. There was so much at Build. It was awesome to watch. Sorry, a little jumpy there. So Azure gets the spotlight, that's no doubt. If you didn't see much of Build 2019, the theme was Azure, so the whole everything cloud. Let's see, particularly where gaming and hardware are concerned, but the lion's share of Build announcements focused on corporate developers' offerings such as Azure, Command Line Linux, edge computing, blockchain tools, AI and ML dev, and databases. So Microsoft is an AI leader. We usually think of Amazon and Google when it comes to artificial intelligence, and those companies are indeed doing impressive work, but Microsoft is all in on AI technology with tools like Azure Cognitive Services, which can interpret audio and visual input. It also has a new category of cognitive services known as Decision. The latter includes the content moderator, anomaly detector, and new service called Personalizer. All of these technologies are designed to make informed recommendations based on interpreted data. New machine learning tools and capabilities include a no-code visual machine learning interface, automation, and lifecycle management. Company announced ML hardware support for FPGAs, as well as ONNX runtime support for NVIDIA TensorRT and Intel nGraph. Oof, a lot of acronyms in there. Speech is another area in which Microsoft is pushing AI forward, both speech synthesis and speech understanding. What else we got? We got edge computing. Azure SQL Database Edge is designed for lower power computers than the big server hardware usually associated with AI. It also offers data streaming and within database machine learning and graph capabilities. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, here they talk about Edge Chromium-based browser again. Microsoft as an IoT leader. What are they saying in here? Just maybe a sentence here. Companies doing the same for Internet of Things devices, which often use proprietary interfaces and data formats. IoT Plug and Play offers a format for the multifarious sensors and other IoT devices to reveal their capabilities and settings in a uniform way. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Microsoft is a blockchain player. They announced at the show that JP Morgan was built on Ethereum ledger platform, Quorum, using Microsoft's new Azure blockchain service. Gives enterprises the ability to deploy a fully managed consortium network with built-in governance for tasks such as adding new members, setting permissions, and authenticating decentralized user apps. As PC Mag readers are probably aware, blockchain is about more than just cryptocurrencies, and Microsoft is tapping the technology's ability to serve as an immutable ledger for verification. JP Morgan's customers will in turn use Quorum for their own blockchain tracking systems. So this was really neat too. I don't think I can blow this up, but let me see. No, I can't. Can I zoom in on it? Oh, that's really bad. Anyways, this was so cool. This is, what's it called? I forget the name of this thing now. I want to say it's called Fluid. No, Fluid Framework. So the Fluid framework allows the developers or the Office 365 things like Word in the browser and that whole real-time collaboration concept, right? Like that I can be working in a document, you can be working in a document, Google Docs style, where I can see what you're typing in real time and you can see where I'm typing and editing in real time. It brings that capability now across all the products. So for one, they showed Fluent Framework here. You can see it a little bit in this particular screenshot in this animated GIF. What they're doing here is they've got 9 instances of Word, I think it's Word Online that they're showing there. And someone's typing and the system is translating into 8 other languages in real time as he's typing. I mean, that was so cool to see that performance. That was amazing. Another thing that they showed was, I don't think there's a screenshot here, no. They had a person editing so within a Word document online, they were editing a table and they were updating values in the cells of the tables. Well, someone copied that table, pasted it into a Microsoft Teams chat window, and in the chat window, the component of that table was editable and updating in real time based on what that person was doing over in Word Online. It was just so neat to see this componentized real-time thing. I don't know, it's neat stuff. It's going to be really, really, really be awesome for this real-time remote kind of collaboration. So one more thing here, I think. No, we got a few more. Microsoft announced the Unreal Engine will support streaming and native platform integration for HoloLens 2. Cool stuff. I didn't see a whole lot about HoloLens 2 during the build conference, but I also didn't focus my attention towards that. But the app showed Minecraft constructions appearing overlaid onto the real world as if they were right on the sidewalk. Yeah. Windows updates were for the nerds. We heard virtually nothing about Windows 10, except as it related to being a platform for building apps. That said, the Microsoft Book of News provided to the press said build includes 57 instances of the term Windows. The biggest new Windows feature was the inclusion of a full Linux kernel called Windows Subsystem for Linux. And I think it's WSL 2 is releasing, right? As opposed to 1. Another Windows feature announced was the FIDO2 certification for Windows Hello, which means any website or application can take advantage of passwordless authentication using a Windows Hello face or fingerprint. So we continue to embrace open source. Yeah, that GitHub acquisition and the driving of Azure DevOps type functionality into integration with GitHub. You see a lot of that coming out now. Cool stuff there. All right. I think that was the last top news story. So we are on to the blogosphere. Where am I at? Woo, it took 24 minutes. I'm tired of talking already. All right, around the blogosphere. We're not going to hit each one of these in detail, but we'll just kind of highlight some of them and then get into some of them. So let's see here. Patching your SharePoint server to the latest public update as soon as possible. Yep, definitely want to do that. I'm not going to go into it, but it looks like there's probably an article there to walk you through how they've done some of that and maybe some details around that from Absolute SharePoint. An overview of different types of security groups in SharePoint and Office 365 by the SharePoint Maven. There you go. Go read on that to get a look at that. SharePoint page templates have finally arrived. Here's how to use them. That seems interesting to me. Page templates. Something that I would love to have had for the longest time in SharePoint. Let's see here. Since the introduction of SharePoint News for the modern SharePoint experience, our customers have been asking for the ability to create templates. Unfortunately, this option wasn't available. There was a workaround, though. You could create a copy of an existing news post. The major downside of this workaround is usability. So Template will finally solve this problem, and they're starting to become available. The new SharePoint feature is, for now, only available for targeted release tenants. Let's see what it looks like. So the Create a News Post menu has a new look and feel. So it looks something like this. It's got a nice card window that opens up. You've got some templates to choose from, blank visual, basic text. There's a little preview off to the right. What else we got? Microsoft provides us with 3 templates, blank visual, basic text, like I said. You can create a news post based on one of these 3 templates. Let's use the visual template. Imagine you want to provide your sales department with a template to quickly and easily announce sales-related items. You start with a canvas and build your template. All right. Are you done? Click on the arrow next to Save as a Draft and click on Save as Template. Nice. Confirm your new template and you're ready to go. Let's get back to the homepage and create a news post. Huh. Interesting. Page templates, huh? What do we got here? Office 365 enabling Yammer.com service as social in SharePoint Online. Yeah, I'll take a quick gander at that. Let's see. What do we got in here? Another day in SharePoint world, another problem, no doubt. As we are familiar, that Office 365 includes two options for the enterprise social feature in SharePoint, Newsfeed and Yammer. What are we going to do here? I was configuring tenant for one of my customers. He has separation of duties for many work streams. Customer wanted to use Yammer service for the enterprise collab. When he tried to enable the settings from settings page using the classic admin center, this option yet not moved into modern. It throws the following error. So it looks like we got an investigation into that. We got a resolution and a conclusion. So if you're looking at that kind of stuff here within your organization, check it out. There's probably a good post there for you to dig through that problem. SharePoint Devs ecosystem, SharePoint PNP, May 2019 update now available. Nice. So there's a new PNP update. What is the version now? Doesn't say on there, but yeah, it's going to be over here at this PNP blog. Community call. I haven't attended a community call in a couple of weeks now, so I'm feeling like I'm a little bit lost on what's going on with the PNP group. They move so fast. I say it all the time. If you're not plugged into the PNP group and you're into the SharePoint space, you are missing out on the future of SharePoint development. Got to get plugged into that. SharePoint plus Flow plus Azure Functions launching a Microsoft Flow from client-side code. Let's check this out. This is going to be kind of... No, it's pretty short. As I say, this is going to be a technical article, but Microsoft MVP Julie Turner wrote a great article on how to launch a Microsoft Flow from client-side code. The requirement seemed deceptively simple, no doubt for sure, and it was somewhat simple. I'll start with showing you how very simple it is to launch a Microsoft Flow from the client-side code. I'll give you this. Read the entire article here. Let's go check it out real quick. Who's this? Julie Turner, right? So, you want to send an email notification from your client-side application running in SharePoint. The idea is that you'd want to hand over to the flow the information about how to compose the email, and it would do the rest, right? As a 5-year-old likes to say, easy peasy lemon squeezy. There's even a walkthrough of doing just this from Irina Gorbach. Oh, for sure, dude. Yeah, you want to link to it? Trying to remember. Let me go back over here. Oh, that's the wrong article. Sorry. Yeah, I think it's all accessible through dev.office.com too. That's a good way to navigate through all this stuff. But here's a direct link if you want that to this particular post. And then if you're ever curious about what's going on in the dev PNP calls, David, I forget his. There it is, Warner.digital. If you ever go to Warner.digital, you'll see David Warner recaps all the calls. So if you ever want to catch up on all the, I guess the PowerPoints and all the results of those calls, he posted all online. You can go check it out. Yeah, amen, dude. Get yourself learned up. Let's go check it out over here. Let's see where we go. SharePoint People Search. From Mark Anderson. Can't go wrong with a post by Mark. Let's see what he's saying here about People Search. If it'll load, what's going on? Mark, I think your site's busted. Refresh. There it goes. Oh. Uh-oh. Yeah, Mark's gonna have to work on that. We'll come back to that one later, I guess. Let me close a bunch of these tabs I got open here. SharePoint People Search right from your intranet homepage. I do want to see that though. Huh. I wonder if I can... Yeah, it's hiding the content. Oh, here it is, down here. All right, so what's he doing? Lots of my clients want a quick and easy way to search for people in SharePoint. Unfortunately, it's not as simple as it should be. On any given site, when you use the search box in the top right corner, you land on a search results page, which doesn't even have a people tab. Worse, you get no results representing people. However, if you click on the organization part of the breadcrumb, you get a people tab and results based on the search terms you have typed. Okay. Better yet, if you click on the people tab, you get only people results, and they are Rick people results, rich maybe, with people cards showing all the details available. Wouldn't it be nice if you could just get people there right away? So what's he doing? You can add a quick link to the homepage of any site, taking you directly to the people search. I'm suggesting this on the homepage of intranets at this point until Microsoft gives us an easy path. And I'm sure they're working on one, right? Like the web parts that they're coming out with for SharePoint Online Modern Experience right now they're pretty inclusive, and they're trying to cover all the bases. So I assume there's going to be a nice little people tool, web part, etc. that's going to come out for that. But Mark's got a workaround for you if you're interested in that for the time being. Failed to load component, original error, failed to load path dependency, Contoso SPFX web part. That's going to be a technical post there on failing to load path dependency. So if you're interested in that and working in the SharePoint framework, you might want to check that one out at koskila.net. What's new and what's changed in SharePoint Online REST API in March and April? Let's check that one out real quick. Who's this? Sergey? What's new and what's changed? Just a quick reminder, all data comes from the SharePoint REST API Metadata Explorer. So go to the API changelog tab and see what's changed. In the previous episode, I mentioned that org news endpoint was added. So now when corresponding PowerShell command lists these to manage organizational news sources, here's the command to list all authoritative news sources. In addition to PowerShell, you can manage authoritative news sources with CSOM. So there looks like, read more about that here. Organizational assets library. So two new methods were added to manage full page apps, create app page and update app page. In the previous episode, I mentioned create full page app and update full page app. Let's say I want to create a single page app with the countdown timer web part. So he's got some examples here. So these are new and what's changed in the SharePoint Online REST API. Copy versus create news copy. Interesting. So if you're doing some dev there in the SPFX side, might be some good examples there for you to follow along with, and some news and updates on what's changed in that SharePoint Online REST API. SharePoint migrations just got easier with Microsoft SMAT. SharePoint Migration Assessment Tool allows you to move local files such as from your internal file shares as well as from a myriad of sources from SharePoint 2013. When selecting a tool to migrate, SMAT ensures the destination that you requested the file to be migrated to is authenticated, providing the necessary layer of security and privacy, and minimizes the risk of mistakes to be made. True that. What's the acronym for the migration tool itself? SharePoint Migration Tool? I forget. But this is an assessment tool as opposed to the actual migration tool, as I understand it. All right, so what else? Getting your employees to use SharePoint in Office 365, digital workplace blog. Yeah, it's always a trick, isn't it? For organizations who are new to Office 365, one of the challenges to getting the full potential of the platform is getting employees to use it, no doubt. So as with any productivity collaboration solution, it's only effective if it actually gets used. After further questioning of the client, we discover some common things. There are no definitions, so they have not clearly defined what exactly SharePoint is and its role in the organization. There's no buy-in. It's amazing how often SharePoint is thrown out there and little actual buy-in from management and departments. Those, some pretty common, I think, reasons for not having good adoption of SharePoint on Office 365. No training, no context, blah interface. Blah interface is a little bit going away, I think, with the new modern experience being provided by Microsoft. So I think they've heard us for a long time now about, trying to make SharePoint not look like SharePoint. So yeah, I talk about branding, structuring your sites, setting up easy to access SharePoint training, get management and departments buy-in and support, and define what the role is in the organization. What are you going to use SharePoint for? And tell everybody about it. Exploring modern page templates in SharePoint Online with REST. A long-awaited feature in modern SharePoint has finally hit targeted release. We saw the ability to create page templates, which we talked about just a second ago. I'm happy to say that they've been released to SharePoint Online. The post is going to give an overview of page templates. Be aware that functionality may change as this feature is currently in targeted release. True that. So who can create page templates? Site owners or SharePoint admins. How to create a page template? First, create a new site page in your modern site and configure the web parts and sections for your page. Before saving your page, you'll see a new option in the Save as Draft menu called Save as Template. Yeah, we just kind of walked through that a second ago. Where are they stored? It's good information. In Site Pages Library, in a folder called Templates. What properties determine if it's a template? If you look closely at the properties of any site page using an API, you'll see an internal column that denotes specific flags on the current item called OData SP Site Page Flags. This is a collection.edm string property, and a template will include the value template. Promote a site page as a template via REST. Well, that's interesting too. That's awesome to know. So that's the REST endpoint. You would hit site pages, pages, save page as template, and give it these parameters. Then you have the REST call example here. That's awesome. View all templates via REST. There's the REST call. REST call response looks something like this. Yeah, it's tough to see without syntax highlighting, but yeah, good post here nonetheless on how to interact with that through the SharePoint REST API. To share or not to share, a must-read for SharePoint site owners. Yeah, this definitely is improved drastically in the SharePoint space. Actually, in the whole Office 365 space, like external sharing has become finally, I think, on par with Dropbox and Box and those other file sharing services, to where the UI looks and feels more like a modern tool to share things with. So I love it. I've actually just made the conversion over from Dropbox. I got off of it totally since I already have all this file storage. Now that sharing has become somewhat feature parity to Dropbox and Box, I was ready to jump back over to OneDrive. So I have made the leap, and I agree that sharing has improved tons. But this article is about what's the problem with sharing. As I have documented extensively in the previous post, by default, SharePoint sites are set up for easy sharing and collaboration. In pure English, what that means is that anyone from members group can easily share the whole site files and folders with other users inside or outside the organization. So that's sort of a problem, right? You definitely need some governance around that, and it looks like we're going to get somewhat of a solution here. Visitors can share too. Oof. So he walks through a use case there, an actual example, and then here's how he goes and disables some of the sharing, it looks like. So he's going into his settings wheel, site permissions, advanced permissions, access requests in the ribbon. Looks like we got our classic view there. If he unchecks all three and click OK, I pretty much disable any sharing. Here's a message Mary now gets when she tries to share this site with her sweetheart John. That's funny. So to share or not to share, back to the original question of the post. The answer is it depends. If you have a department site or some private team sites, you might want to control security as a site owner and not allow the decision to be determined by team members. So in this case, you will disable site and file folder sharing, or at least the whole site sharing. On another hand, if your site is a project site and people come and go, yeah, you might want that, right? All right, so good post there. That's it. That's all of top news story and around the blogosphere. We're just going to jump into some quick events here, and then we'll jump off. So, yep, got the SharePoint conference coming up. What do we got? 4 days. 21st starts on Tuesday, runs through Thursday. Man, I wish I was going this year. So much fun out there at the SharePoint conference in Vegas. I think it's at the MGM this year, if I'm not mistaken. So anyways, May 21st, 23rd, got the conference. May 23rd online, we got Bamboo Knowledge Base webinar. So I'll be doing that on the cloud part. If you're interested, I can get you links to that. You can just email me at sales@bamboosolutions.com. I'll get you a link. May 28th, I'll be doing a demo or a webinar on, this is who is this one from? This one's a Microsoft course, yeah, or an online presentation. So you can jump on that. So that's here for your registration as well. This is on modern SharePoint applications using SharePoint Framework and how to build them. May 30th online, I'll be doing the Bamboo Planner Plus webinar, so join me for that one as well. June 1st, so we got a bunch of SharePoint Saturdays coming up. We got London, Reston, Nashville, Paris, Madrid, Philadelphia, Netherlands, and New York City. So if you're anywhere around those, get plugged in, go to one of those SharePoint Saturdays. I promise you'll have fun. It does take up a full day, but such good information. Every time I come back from there, one of those, I come back fired up and full of content and knowledge to share with my organization. So I'd love going. I'll actually be at the June 1st one in Reston. So if you're in this area and you want to hook up, maybe grab a coffee or something at the SharePoint Saturday, attend a session together, let me know. I'll be wearing a Bamboo branded shirt, and come find me. Let me know. So that's what's coming up. That is the SharePoint Weekly Roundup. I really appreciate you guys jumping on today. John, Christopher, appreciate the chat. I'll do this every Friday at noon, and then on Wednesdays we do our product use case implementations of our product, where I go in and configure it and get ready for the webinar on the Thursday right after, and I just stream that so that I can be online and share a little bit of knowledge with you guys. Answer any questions, just be available. All right, that's it. You guys have an amazing weekend. Thanks for jumping on again. Again, any news, anything you need from me, sales@bamboosolutions.com. Hit me up. Take care, guys. See y'all next Wednesday.